Mhm. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another installment of the R2F show, the Return to Fitra show, where we talk about all things related to Islam and especially dealing with spiritual abuse, cult, and deviant groups, um, and attempts to helping people and ourselves learn more about Islam and return to the natural Fitra of Islam. So, thank you for joining the group or joining the show. Oh, we'll get right going. All right, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد. So this show we're doing kind of a year-end review, look back at what we have covered over the years, some things that's happened, just to remind ourselves of what we've been through. And especially for those of us that have come from some spiritually abusive backgrounds or abusive groups, cult groups, it always helps to look back on what we've come from. And there's basis for this in the Sunnah. The Sahabas used to sit around and talk about the times that they were in ignorance, and it was a way to show their gratitude for where they have come to as far as following true religion, as far as following Islam and being grateful to Allah for guiding them away from that ignorance. We have a very short surah. It's in the last Jews. That's the Surah Asr. And we probably all memorize it because it's one of the shorter ones. But it's a very powerful surah. And أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So Allah tells us in this surah, and some of the scholars say that like if Allah just revealed this surah, it'd be sufficient for us as Muslims. And it talks about Allah swears by time, and when Allah swears by something, it's something that's very important, right? So he swears, he says by time. He says, indeed, mankind is at a loss. So right there, Allah's telling us that we start off at a loss. But then he says the exception to the rule. He says, except those that do righteous deeds. And this is important as far as, our goal and our mission for return to Fitra and what we're working for, is that in those who call each other with truth or to truth and towards patience and with patience. And that's pretty much our mission at R2F. And as far as using this time to reflect on what we've been through, there's a hadith that we all should know, especially coming from some of us that come from the TMY background. As one of the hadiths that we should memorize is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a believer should not be stung twice by the same hole. In other words, we should learn from our mistakes. There's a saying that a smart man learns from his own mistakes and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So this is what we're doing here, is we're not only just telling stories, telling our stories, our history, just to have fun, just to get it out, just to have something to talk about. We're doing it because we want others to learn from our mistakes. And we want to learn from our own mistakes so that we can move forward. And this is what this you could say this New Year's show or whatever you want to call it, this is what this is about, is looking back at some of the things that happened, because sometimes you don't have a true perspective on what happened until you actually look back at where you came from. And again, the Sahabas used to do this as well. And there's another hadith, Rasulullah said, and I don't have the exact wordings, but as Muslims, we don't look back and say things like, if I would have done this, then this would have happened. This coulda, shoulda, woulda type of attitude. Because a lot of us look back at our times, especially being involved in a cult, being involved in shirk, being involved in things that are clearly against Islam. We really regret what we went through. And we should regret that, because we should regret all of our sins. But at the same time, we should also reflect on that and be grateful for where we are right now, because, you know, we can see in the comments, we can see in our exchanges with a lot of TMOA members, it's very hard for us to actually understand that we used to be in those same shoes, having the same crazy beliefs, right? And it's so, when you take just one step outside of the fishbowl, you look back at these things and it seems really, really crazy. So there's another hadith that's very powerful, and it's a hadith Qudsi, and Rasulullah said that Allah said, and this is in Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim, he said that the son of Adam abuses me. And how does he abuse? How do we abuse him? Is that he said he curses time and I am time. Or in other words, he controls time. He controls what happens in time. For in my hand are the night and day. So we shouldn't curse the situations that we've been through in the past. We should learn from them and follow the advice of Rasulullah by reflecting on what we've been through, by reflecting on what happens in the past, so that we can be better moving forward. And the last thing I want to say is that because we, especially for us, I'm speaking directly to R2F members, R2F supporters, or people that are like kind of like on our side of this thing, we have to remember that we used to be in this same position of these people that were trying to call to the straight path. And I know I have to constantly remind myself as well, and that I used to be one of these people. And it's very easy to forget, especially once you get back on the Quran and the Sunnah. It's very easy to forget. But keep reminding ourselves of this so that when we deal with them, we can deal with them in the best manner in giving dawah. As far as like refrain from trying to insult him purposely, refrain from calling names, refrain from getting in the mud with them, right? The truth is enough. They will be offended by the truth. They will be offended by the hadith. They will be offended by the Quran and the Sunnah. But while they're offended from it, this is the truth. And we go back to the surah where Allah says, accept those who call people to truth and with patience. So that's the patient part that we have to have, is that when we're dealing with these people, and I'm reminding myself first and foremost, is that we have to remember that ultimately we want these people to be in the same position that we are now, looking back at the falsehood or the ignorance that we were just in, just like the Sahabas used to do. And so that we can all, Allah willing, be in paradise and look back and laugh at these things like, man, we were really off it. Alhamdulillah for this guidance. Alhamdulillah. So with that, we're going to begin our year in review show. And this is kind of an open show for anybody, just so you know, like you could jump in, you could ask questions. We have a little kind of like format, but it's not really, you know, set in stone. We got about an hour to get this all out, but we're just going to talk about some of the things that happened through the last year. I know personally, one of the things that helped me after I kind of separated from TMOA was when I started writing. And I started writing down a lot of the issues that I encountered through the previous years. And when you write things down, or at least talk about them, you actually get a real perspective of how kind of crazy things are. And like, you'll see this when we actually go through this year in review of all the crazy things that happened that I bet a lot of us actually forgot about. Let's see. So if we go back all the way to February, the before we even had the R2F show. So this is when we were just doing our regular R2F Dawah. And for the viewers that don't know TMOA, a lot of this stuff has to deal with TMOA because that's where a lot of our interactions come from. But we go back to the shortest month of the year, of course, February, which is, of course, Black History Month, right? But one of the things that was put out there by TMOA was comparing their leaders to the likes of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and all these giants in the civil rights movement, and pretty much saying that they were nothing compared to the accomplishments that the leading founding fathers of TMOA.
I thought it was just Sheikh Jelani, I didn't know they included other founding fathers. Because I remember posts on Facebook, people just saying, my Sheikh has done more for me and Black folks all around the world than anyone, including Malcolm X and Dr. King. And I was like, yeah, nah.
Nah. Yeah. And I think it might have been, I don't even remember. Maybe I'm giving the benefit of the doubt because it's like, okay, how did this
I'm pretty
Pakistani
sure
guy do
it was just Jelani. And because like, it was one of the things like I'm so blessed to have been in his presence, right? He took me from the streets and the ghettos and drugs and stuff like that, and made me a better Muslim and all this stuff. It's like, okay, I mean, maybe he did. You believe that, but like that's not Black people as a whole. That's just you. But
yeah. So literally the people of African descent, Black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, most of us, not all of us, but most of us, literally got stereotyped and then bragged about a stereotype. I mean, I mean, most of the drugs and things that are done in this country are by white people. Yep. Most of the, I mean, sorry, I mean, it's not, I mean, that's just the facts. I mean, but to make it seem like all and everyone was on drugs and saved them all. So the question that I would pose to the Jamadi or TMO person or just person in any cult in any situation, but in looking at what was said, if you know TMOA, if Jelani has done more for the African Americans in this country than Medgar Evers and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, I mean, you can even throw in Jesse Jackson and those guys. I mean, was
Al Sharpton?
Yeah, all in there. But even with some of those flaws, now, I mean, Malcolm X is a giant. I mean, I would challenge any person to say that they have done more than Malcolm X. Literally, I would say that he probably has had the greatest impact as far as people entering Islam, white people too, after seeing movies made about him and reading his autobiography. Yeah. But almost every person within a generation, within a window, probably around our age, not you, Amr, but our age and older, somewhere in about a 20-year window, every single person I can think of that says has become Muslim or whatever, you say, well, when they tell you that story, how they became Muslim, they reference the autobiography of Malcolm X. They reference Malcolm X. Yeah. And so what was that?
Muhammad Ali.
Not as much. Muhammad Ali kind of was like, people do reference him, but Malcolm X is almost always a figure that drew. So for that alone, millions of people of African American descent, for sure, entered Islam just based off of knowing and hearing or interacting with him. So TMOA is a handful of people, a handful. So let's just pose the question outside of TMOA. Who has Jelani or whoever they're referring to that did more for Black people than anyone else? Someone who's not affiliated with TMOA whatsoever, who heard about, interacted with, benefit from, and for that reason either accepted Islam or says, you know what, my life and my religion is so much better just because I knew or heard about him.
Let me play the opposing side for a second. And just to warn the viewers, viewer discretion is advised for this episode. We are not going to we're going to talk freely in this episode. We're going to talk freely this episode. So let me play opposing side. So what about, according to him, according to TMOA, the African Americans have a bastard culture and actually no culture at all. And so Sheikh Jelani actually gave TMOA his culture. So what about that accomplishment?
What is his culture exactly?
Indian.
Halalas? Oh.
Jaffer gets started with a beautiful speech and everything, saying how we were going to be.
This is the truth.
Yeah,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
But I mean, and the thing is this. even if he did, which I mean, that is true. He did give Tiamoy his culture. That legit is the truth. You got Negroes running around thinking they're Indian. I mean, they dress like Indian. They, I mean, they even use the slang and the lingo and all that stuff, just like Indian. I mean, it's a little bit of a blend because you might catch them saying, you know, acha my nigga or something like that. But
you know, well, what about the one brother that said that he, you know, one of the major accomplishments of Sheikh Jelani was that he taught them all these dishes, dates and cream cheese, curries, naan. I mean, what about that?
No. No, that's not a like anyone can make a curry. It's not a Pakistani Indian thing. Like there's Muslims in Richmond who make curries and are black. They didn't know Jelani. Like that's not how it works.
Isn't curry the food of the Sunnah?
I mean, it's probably thought to be so, but not really. It's just a dish. Like the people.
I don't know that Rasulullah ever ate curry.
Yeah. So
it's an Indian. It's not. But you know, actually, I mean, he could have. I don't know for sure, but I know the normal when you go through the seerah and the hadith and things that he ate, like I was listening to a lecture a little while back, and they were talking about how Rasulullah never ate rice before in his life. He never ate rice
because it wasn't in Arabia. So how would he have had rice?
I mean, so that came, I guess.
And you need a lot of water to cook rice. So like,
and they live where in the desert.
He never ate rice, and so I mean, I'm sorry, but Rasulullah's favorite dish was not biryani. I'm sorry to say.
Butter chicken, obviously.
It's crazy because like when I think of these statements, we have a video somewhere on our channel where it talks about the whether Mubarak Jelani was actively racist or not. He was clearly passively racist.
He was actively racist
because of some of the stereotypes and the things he said. But it's crazy to like when someone come to America, within like probably the last, I mean, I'll say my age, within the last 40 years at least, right? And to say that the African Americans have no culture when literally it's the most influential culture in the entire world.
Facts.
Like the entire world is like, you could go back to like rock and roll music, hip hop culture,
jazz,
like even jazz, like anything. You can go back to like Elvis Presley. What did he get all that from? He stole it from black people. Like you can go to anything. It's influenced by African Americans.
Yeah. It's and this, I mean, this could go in so many directions, but the African American or the I would say the African American specifically, because there's Africans, but depending on who you talk to, they don't all claim us, and we don't all claim them. It's just as far as you know, there's I mean, they are just as different to us in some ways as, you know, someone from Portugal or Spain or somewhere. I mean, it's just the cultures are different. But we probably are the most utilized and abused resource in the world. I mean, everything, usually people build nations and wealth off the backs of African Americans. They steal their creativity, their content, and different things, and benefit that way. I don't know. I mean, someone can correct me. I don't know of any group, a demographic of people that has had as much as an impact on just anything you can think of without getting much credit.
Exactly.
or any credit for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, but it's just a continuation of that thing where the brother comes from Pakistan. He doesn't know a damn thing about African Americans or their culture, and regards it as a bastard culture, if anything, and finds his culture to be superior to the culture that he came into and married into. What does that sound? That sounds like colonialism. I mean, listen, shout out to the colonizers. That sounds like colonialism. And I mean, it happens, where he came in, saw his culture as superior, replaced yours with his. You can change the players. You can change the players. I'll say this real quick. You can change the players, but it's the same thing. You put, Columbus and the people who came over. They say, these Indians, these natives, they're savages. We're gonna put, suit and coat on them, top hat or whatever. Change their religion, XYZ. It's literally the same playbook. I mean, literally. What do we say, Amr? I form strong.
Strong, I form close. I form close. All the same playbook.
And tying it back to like even Islam in America, the reason why, well, not say the reason, of course, Allah is the one that orchestrates everything. But actually, before Jelani came, the Dar al-Islam movement is the reason why Sunni Islam spread in America. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like foreigners coming here and spreading it, because the immigrants were coming here and just getting in their little pockets in their neighborhoods and just practicing their religion by themselves. And most of them were actually running away from the religion of Islam. Like they were cultural Muslims, but the Dar al-Islam movement was spread across America. And then, of course, Jelani came and destroyed it. But
I remember this story that I was told from, I think it was my sister here, and she used to tell me that when they went overseas, like before they left, they had to make fried chicken for Jelani before they left. So like he hated everything else about Black people, but
you have fried chicken. I can respect that, though. I can respect that.
but alhamdulillah, I mean, it's like it is, where we started Black History Month and how he gave the culture. Listen, I know that some of the apologists and things they're always going to take the opposite side to whatever position we take. But just think critically. This is literally the same thing that has happened to African Americans by every country that had any sort of power that came into Africa and took some away, or took the resources, used them, took the women, or whatever the case may be. It's the same story. So at least be able to say, okay, I know part of the history, and if you don't know the history, well, maybe we need to do some history shows. But if you don't know the history of African Americans, or just colonization, period, if you don't know and really understand that whole system, how they literally carved up Africa, carved up the Middle East, carved up Asia, India, just took, that's what it did, and gave people their culture and said, your culture is, inferior. And so, basically that is something that, because it happened to Pakistan, actually. It happened to them, and so that's why a lot of them can speak English, because it's not because they love America so much. Well, they might, but it's because the British were over there, and basically it was like, hey, this is better for you, and so a lot of them speak English, just passed down.
Yes, that's racist.
That's a good point, because it's like there's one brother mentioned he actually didn't even patch it. Like he colonized the Dar al-Islam movement with his own culture, which is already a colonized culture because it's colonized by the British. Like it's not even really like Indian culture he gave. It's like his own bastard culture of Indian, British culture mixed together and passed it on to us. But so I'm gonna roll through these. Some of it comes up. Well, we'll talk about this one. So there was also this post made where basically it emphasized to the community members that you have to be careful of what you're doing. You have to be careful of what you're wearing inside the house and outside the house, because Mubarak Jelani can see everything that you're doing.
Pervert.
So they basically put out this notice that, Mubarak Jelani is watching them. He knows if you've been naughty or nice.
He's Santa Claus, yes.
Yes, pretty much. It's timely.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we celebrate Christmas, maybe. I don't know.
It's him. The belly and the beard. He out here. MashaAllah. That fit the description.
Let's see what else. Okay, so a big thing that happened was after Ramadan, Mubarak Jelani passed away. He returned to Allah. May Allah forgive him for his sins, and hopefully he passed away on the right path. But a lot of stuff happened after that.
Game of Thrones.
So yeah, Game of Thrones pretty much was just a lot of these points that happened. You had the TMOA's leadership didn't address their community whatsoever after he passed away, besides saying they issued like a press release, which is really for like the non-Muslims. Yeah, the sheikh died pretty much.
Press release that had freaking a bunch of typing errors, misspellings, and then it got roasted by Jaffer, and they're like, "Oh crap! Someone edited this real quick." Again.
They reissued it. I forgot about that. R2F, TMOA's editing and proofing department.
Yeah, Jelly Sewan or whatever the thing is called.
Yep. That was the 7 Sultan
head
turban wrapping ceremony. Yeah. Where people are kissing his hands and feet.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, brother, you're so holy.
I just can't wait to be king.
Then like even before that, I don't even know like what order this happened, and I'm looking back at this. Like you had the whole Shafat thing where he was like making moves to try to get the inheritance of the TMOA members.
The power
to inherit them. Yeah.
He was like, "Hey Facebook, what's good, y'all? Listen, I haven't talked to you niggas ever, all right? But listen, Jelani is the last name, all right? So you know my father. And I just hope you guys are doing well. Friendship.
I mean, literally. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I understand why he thought that would work, because I mean, they literally to the point where some, not all, but some, to the point literally have committed. Have literally directed acts of worship and called on him in a way that's only appropriate to call on Allah. So for him, it's like, I mean, this is basically a deity for these people. And if I can get some of that. I mean, he saw that it was lucrative. And he's a businessman. So, I mean, I don't want to say I don't blame him, but I understand why he tried it. So, try to do a little power play. And for those who don't know, maybe they haven't caught up on the shows, and maybe they just started tuning in. But yeah, so Shafat, when Jilani passed away, after how shortly was it after his father passed away? It was
like that first week.
Yeah. So basically, it's when his father passed away, he started to put the pieces in motion, making a group, contacting people, trying to get power. We had
the wrong people.
Oh yeah, that was
he literally. It's like
it was Double Agent Smith, bro.
It's like literally him not realizing. And see, that's the thing that shows there how unconnected or plugged in to the Jamaat in general he was, because I mean literally Jafar is enemy number one. I mean he's above Abu Jahl in these people's eyes. I mean, like literally, and then, and you
brother, I need your support.
Yeah.
I want your support, brother.
Do you know who this is?
Like, you want our support? You got it, buddy.
but the crazier thing about that is I told him that.
He still told you.
I was yo, dude, I'm not the one. You're like, you don't want to talk to me, man. No, it's good, brother. We're good. All right.
Okay. So basically, we peeped him. We saw him coming. We realized that it was, and the thing is, he out of his own mouth has said that Noor does not practice Islam, and she might have something to say about him. Maybe they formed an alliance behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure that they've come to some sort of agreement, because he hasn't said anything, nor have they said anything about him. But they haven't said anything too much, not directly. They did a few copyright strikes or whatever, try to get the videos
out of here.
But yeah, for the most part, hasn't really done anything. But yeah, he pretty much said, Shafat pretty much said exactly what we've been saying all along. They're not practicing Islam, but he was saying it in order to hopefully get some power. And once he realized, well, he wasn't going to be the king, he was waiting to be king, and he didn't get it. So then he was front and center, the front man for the turban wrapping ceremony for the seventh sultan, the turban wrapping of the seventh sultan.
This is
so I hope I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or not. So go ahead.
No, you're good. Just go. You're good.
He said no. Like this Spencer Fott was there rapping Noor Jelani in the turban rap the thing, right? And he was rapping like this is after he told Jafar he didn't believe in it. Like this when Jafar asked him before on Facebook, like, yo, you believe in the seven sultan? There's no hadith that says this is true, not Quran and Sunnah. No. And then there he is, seven.
Yeah. And so
elbowing
really
Sultan out the way, where he's like elbowing like, not Sultan, you out of here. I got this.
Yeah, and so the thing is, that's really why we went in on Shafat, because he came to us and he was saying, literally straight out of Quran, Sunnah, he was basically laying out in general that the whole belief of the seven sultans is shirk. It's not part of Islam. That he even said his own father was not any sultan of any kind. He said that. He said, this stuff is not true. And he wanted to, but he said he wanted to do was to direct the Jamaat back to Quran and Sunnah. That's what he said. So we were like, I mean, we don't care who it is. If they are talking about wanting people to follow the Quran and Sunnah and leave whatever is not supposed to be there, we're on the same team. It doesn't matter who, what, where, when, how. But as soon as you show that not only are you not trying to stick to Quran and Sunnah, but you basically try to play us for fools, no, we will show you who the fool is, inshallah. And at the same time, still guide people, hopefully, to the Quran and the Sunnah in the way that the messenger did.
And then they had their so like right after that, so they not nominated. We found out from Shafat that Jelani left the reins of control or the leadership to his widow, Noor. So this is when TMW officially took a female as their imam and sheikha. And after that, well, we'll get into that. But so right after that, right around that time, we actually started the first R2F show in September. So all that stuff was kind of happening between May and September, all these different things. Probably some stuff that we even forgot.
Man, but, it feels like it's been going for like the whole year, but September, man, that was like 3.5 months.
Yeah. Yep. And so we started talking about basically this leadership battle, because if you remember, we had Sultan's dream where he was trying to assume leadership through his dream, and he had a dream that his Abu was in it and he told him he's the leader and whatever. Then you had Shafat battle back with Sultan, and then Fatima, the other oldest daughter, comes into the fray, and then we had Mountain Man.
Yes, sir. Oscar himself.
Yes.
I mean, hey, let me give these young men. Let me give them a pat on the back. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm all for backing up your brother and having your brothers back. And for Mudassir, I say kudos to you, young man. You did come in, you rode in and tried to give your brother some support. I like that. I do. But Shafat slapped both y'all down, because he basically said y'all was like literally on a Skype, like it was a Skype call. These dreams y'all was coming with, and so I mean, you did try. I give you credit for that. But I would say, Shafat, he sunned y'all a little bit, quite a bit actually, because that might as well have been a Skype call. The dream, the very precise dream that details exactly what needs to happen for you, with some fabricated hadith sprinkled in. That we should help.
It didn't help that Mudassir, after our show on it, actually said he's going to come on our show. People might have forgot about that. Nope, he gave us his word as a Muslim, Ahli Rasul, and all this, that he was going to come on the show. He reneged on that, and then he said he's going to answer all of our questions via email. We sent him the questions via email. He reneged on that and just never responded again. He just ghosted us. So it didn't help his case. I get standing up for your family and all that, but then your older brother slaps you down, and then you have an emotional reaction to an R2F show, like, I'm gonna come on there and defend myself or whatever. Run away from that. Run away from even answering in the email. But it just goes to show, like, this is the MO. This is the same thing that their father did. You know, any challenging questions, run away from it or kick them away from me so that I don't have to answer any questions from somebody.
I mean, truthfully, it didn't help him at all the first time he ever spoke. And he had the little mountain man clip coming down. He was like, I just done that. And then everything I say is from my heart, and I'm not reading anything off a page.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear that in the background. we do. Take two,
Oh,
please.
man.
Hear that?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, was like, he's definitely lying. There's no way. I'm not believing a word he says. He's definitely lying.
It was so bad because, like, out of everybody who was because he was just being so treacherous and obviously just wanted money or control or whatever, Shafat was the closest one to actually saying stuff that was actually right. You know, like in his rebuttals to them, he was actually saying stuff that was closer to the Quran and the Sunnah, you know, and they're just coming back with, you know, made up hadiths. I mean, I even think he said something like, what did he say about what his father said? Oh, this is what he said. Remember, he said there was a story about the Sahabas walking past the beggar, and it was Shaitan or something. Remember this? Yeah. So it's like, and Shaitan said something, and it was like, we're not. And the Sahabas knew it was Shaitan. They're like, no, we're not helping you. You're Shaitan. And then they went to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you should help him.
Yeah. Why didn't you help him?
Because he said he was Ahlul Bayt.
Yeah. So even Shaitan. Hold up. Why didn't you help him? Even though it was Shaitan and they knew he was lying, but because he said he was Ahlul Bayt, you should help him.
Yep, exactly.
Knowing that it's Shaitan. So anyone less than that, and you don't know for sure if they're lying, you literally got to do anything. You know, give them your daughters or your money, your houses, cars. I mean,
I'm Ahlul Bayt.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy now? I'm just popping in my head right now. There's several videos that were just put up where Jelani is literally warning the Jamaat about himself. Right? He's like literally telling them, watch out for people like me. And no one sees it. So like if you step back from these things, if you look at really what they're telling you, right there, like if you look at it, step back, this guy's telling you, even though I may be lying about being Ahlul Bayt, you still should help me and listen to me just for the fact that I said I'm Ahlul Bayt. Like this is what is happening here. It's crazy. They're literally telling people, watch out for me, and they're just not. Eyes are still closed.
And if anyone from the Jamaat sees this, or not Jamaat, if anyone from the Jelani family sees this, right? And I know you had that little scroll inside of that little video of your daughter or how she is, right? Send us a photo of that so we can get it transcribed, because it probably says like the devil, like nah, like I need to get that transcribed, bro. There's no way. Ain't no way he'll be back to the prophet, bro. So there's no way. I need that transcribed in English.
And remember, and this kind of gets into, we started having the show. We had guests. We had a member of Ahlul Bayt on the show.
Yes, and Siddiqui too.
Yeah, and Siddiqui. Remember, descendant of Rasul Sallallahu and descendant of Abu Bakr.
Yeah.
Yep. And he kind of told us about, they having easy documentation. He was willing to get it to us. He said it's very easy, but no one in TMOA has been up. They haven't provided this to any of the members in TMOA. And we also learned that, in Pakistan, and Mubarak can chime in on this as well, is this is what everybody does. So everybody's going to have a scroll or something saying, I'm related to Rasul Sallallahu. But what we actually have to do is go into those neighborhoods and talk to the elders of the neighborhoods so they can actually tell you the real deal of who is who in the neighborhood, because it's just a thing. Everybody claims it.
So. I actually was interesting. I just saw the brother on Friday, and he actually gave me showed me the actual family tree. He had it copied and sent from Pakistan. That's what took so long. So he had it actually copied and sent. And so I actually took pictures and video, but I forgot to send it. But yeah, nice. So he actually, and I actually forgot about it. So it's not like I was reminding him or whatever. We had him on the show a while back, and he went and he said he was going to get it. It took a while because he said his aunt or whoever it was that had it is not that tech savvy or whatever. So she literally got it, made a copy, went to the post office, snail mailed it or whatever. So it's here. He showed me the picture. We looked at it, and it's interesting that also someone who's in his family tree, and we had talked about this, is Qadi Abu Yusuf, Muhammad Yusuf, who is the Hanafi madhab. Okay, Abu Yusuf was like Imam Abu Hanifa's like main student, or like one of his best students. And I even say it's like some people say that really he probably has the most impact as far as the rulings and some of the impact on the madhab, maybe more even so than Imam Abu Hanifa, even though he was kind of the first student, the first teacher, which aggregated these the rulings into the madhab. But Abu Yusuf is really has a major part, and he is a descendant of him as well, who he is also. So I just thought it was beautiful, and it didn't. Then at the same time, I was trying to explain to them that it's wonderful, and it's nice that you're able to have this. I said, but for most of us, and there was like other African Americans there sitting around, we were looking at and talking. I said, but for us, it would be hard for any of us to actually be able to aggregate this many names of people who we are related to going back this many generations, just because of what happened to us. So we need to be able to do this. But it's a blessing, and it was nice. I was happy for him and nice to see, but at the same time, I was a little salty, thinking I don't have a clue. I really don't. Not going back too far. I mean, I probably are related to Thomas Jefferson somewhere down the line, but other than that,
we're all cousins, right? All of us light-skinned brothers are Thomas Jefferson. But one thing about that interview that really stood out to me, and I hope it stood out to everybody else, is the polar opposite in like behavior and conduct that we've seen from someone that was Ahlul Bayt versus the examples of alleged Ahlul Bayt that we've seen growing up in TMOA. We can ask any question. We could, he was very humble. He was like, it seemed like he got offended by asking, when we asked, like, would you take money from people? Like, well, absolutely not. I work, my father works, we all work. Like, it was just total opposite.
And I would even chime in that, over in Pakistan, because I have family that's from Pakistan, and it's funny that they like, the ones, she said, you can tell the difference between the ones who are Ahlul Bayt and the ones who are faking, because the ones who they legitimately are, from the lineage and the descendants of Rasulullah, they know it and they take it seriously. They will be offended if you try to offer them charity or give them things. They like, if their job is like, a lot of them, they're doctors or whatever. She went to the doctor, and when someone tried to offer the doctor, who was, from a descendant of Rasulullah, something extra for just doing his job, he was so angry. Like, no, this is my job. I don't need anything extra. And he said it, we, as in descendants of Rasulullah, we don't take charity and we don't take handouts like this. We have a certain way about us. We work and we earn what we get, and we don't need anything extra for that. And so every single one that I have met has been that way. Very humble, very generous, and very hardworking. You wouldn't know that they were unless somehow by some way of conversation or something that came up, but you wouldn't see them, putting themselves above the people, mentioning it all the time, expecting some sort of treatment for it. They actually treat you better than you treat them. You're struggling trying to catch up and do favors for them to try to make up for how they have treated you. Those are the ones who I have interacted with, have been. These ones in TMOA and related that literally are taking everything, resources, money, women, cars, houses, whatever you want to say from the people, and nothing is going back. You know, hey, listen, Jelani has how many what's the one who got disowned for marrying outside of the family? I wonder, I mean, all these harlots that he loves dearly. No one. I mean, I wonder. I don't know all the details. I wonder maybe no one liked her, or maybe she didn't like anyone in the Jamaat. But I doubt that anyone even was offered or was afforded the opportunity to marry one of his daughters. Definitely not the Pakistani one.
Yeah, and we had so after we. And I'm just going to shout out all the names, but a special shout out to Hussein, who was our first person to come on the show and do an interview and started off this great trend that we have. And it kind of took us out throughout the rest of the year of doing interviews, which we kind of like dedicated ourselves to always being open to people that want to come up and share their stories and talk about their experiences with spiritual abuse. I'm going to shout out all the names and we'll talk about some other standout episodes. We had the Hussein interview. We did Muhammad Ahmed interview. We did an interview with Hanif. We did an interview with Muhammad Taki. We did an interview with Yusuf Rauf. Amr was on here. We had an interview with Hafiz Abdul Fattah. We had an interview with Nadim. We had an interview with Khalifa MJ. We had an interview with Abdul Sabor. We had an interview with Nabila Ali, who was the first female to come on the show. We had an interview with Misbahuddin. We had an interview with Sister Taha, the first founding mother, I guess, of TMOA that came on the show. So some of the big ones that really stood out, the first big one, like we were talking about a lot of different things throughout these interviews, but then when Muhammad Jamal, Khalifa MJ, came on the show and just was dropping like bomb after bomb after bomb and really confirming everything that we've been saying for the last few years with his testimony. I mean, it was very much confirmed that Jelani wasn't a scholar, that Jelani came over here on a jihad mission. Jelani ordered them to commit crimes, murder, assassinations, robberies, all types of different things that he's been denying all these years.
Our slaves.
He considered the people in the African-American towns that he had in America as slaves, child marriages. I mean, anything we've been saying. I mean, there's a laundry list. He confirmed all of it, and it was a shocking, not shocking because a lot of us already know this, but it was finally like someone said it, and he was the first of the whole old heads to, I say old heads, were founding fathers, the people that were the first people to follow Jelani, the people that got everybody from Dar al-Islam to follow Jelani, coming out and saying, yeah, this was all fake. This was all a fraud. We were duped. As going back to Malcolm X, what's the quote? We were hoodwinked. We were bamboozled. We were led astray. We were, Plymouth. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. This is what happened to TMOA. This is exactly what happened, and it was just confirmation of, and just having it be said out loud, live for everybody to hear it, and that was a very big thing to happen in 2021,
and still denied to this day.
Yeah, to this day. Now they claim that he's not credible. He's lying.
Yeah,
he wants power. Like what power is he trying to get at this stage in his life? He even tries like, yeah, I'm done. I'm getting tired. Let's get off. He wanted like, let's end this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
like 12 o'clock. He's old. He's
yeah.
Go to sleep.
Exactly. And I think one of the biggest things that he said in there is that we asked on like a scale of 1 to 10, how much have you told us? And he said, this is like, 1. This is 1. I mean, this is only 10%.
And like, at first I thought it was just what's the word, hyperbole.
Hyperbole, yeah.
Like, okay, just but what has happened after the MJ interview is that a lot of the old heads have started to percolate, and I mean like people that are in our father's age ranges, right? That block of people have started to percolate for or against us. Or I don't want to say for or against us. It's not like we're not against anybody. We're just trying. Right. We're trying to position ourselves with Allah and His Messenger and people have come out and started to, you know, give their sides of what's going on, what's being said. But that block of old heads, as we call them, you don't, I mean, there's not necessarily an age, but you know an old head when you see one, basically. So the old heads basically have started to percolate and corroborate what MJ has said. First, they started out by saying, you know, I don't understand why MJ did this, blah, blah, blah. And then it's almost like it's like suppressed memories or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's crazy that they're like, oh, but you know what? This and that and other. And and coming forward, and I can't say now, but definitely, inshallah, what MJ said, some of the other 90% is starting to come out, and we're waiting to kind of put some of those pieces together to show you a lot of the stuff that MJ alluded to and beat around the bush on. The corroborating stories and other witnesses and people will also back up and support what MJ is saying. And there's a lot. We would rather not even. We would rather just completely just leave all that behind and just move forward. But obviously, there's a lot of people still hanging on. I mean, there was like some cringeworthy video that we saw today. I don't know if we should get into that, but yeah, I mean, it's like, it's people still hanging on. They're still there, and it is sad. So we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. But you know something, I did want to pose you. I don't know, maybe this is too early. I don't know how much I'm looking at the little lineup here, but like, what do you guys think? It's hard. It's like your kids. You can't really pick a favorite, but not necessarily a favorite, but which is something, because a lot of this stuff we have known, or we have been privy to a lot of information, but like as far as either hearing it on the show or maybe a guest or someone who talked about something on the show that you felt like this was really impactful to me, or this stood out as far as over this since we started doing this show. That's for you, Amr, and for you, Jaffer, and whoever in the comments too, I guess can comment as well.
Okay, so for me, the show that I really got me was right after the MJ interview, right when we're supposed to go in and talk about the MJ interview and break it down, because he was dropping knowledge bombs. Like a day and a half before we get to do that, Halala drops, Noor, Daphne Gardner, and it's like, okay, well, here we go, talk time.
There was, for me, there was no one show. I think the biggest thing, because we've been, like you said, we've been talking about this stuff for years now amongst ourselves. So none of it was like new, but one of the things that always sticks out to me was kind of emotional. I kind of held it back. I was good, but when we did Sister Tahara's interview, and then at the end there was a little exchange between her and Hussein.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it was just seeing the mother and the son. And because I think it was he was saying thank you for everything you've done. She was just got talked about how she was worried about, she brought her kids into this and that, and all her sons are all doing interviews and leaving. She's coming on, and he's confirming no. It was very touching to me.
Yeah,
so that was a big thing that stood out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that part definitely there was definitely I had some dust particles getting both of my eyes simultaneously at that time as well. So I was struggling with that as well. But I think another thing really, the Halala situation, and some of the in which some of these things were taught and directed and sanctioned by the leader. And we sometimes we kind of we joke about certain things, or a little bit light-hearted about some things, and as Jafar said many times, sometimes that is a coping mechanism. But I felt like that show, and really it just drained all the energy. Actually, after that show, I almost didn't want to do the show anymore. It just literally, you
A little
know,
heavy.
yeah, I mean, and like I said, we got 4 daughters, right? And Jaffer, I don't know how many daughters do you have? Amr shouldn't have any right now, but
I have no kids, not at all.
But I'm just saying, for me, so I'm thinking about my daughters, and I'm thinking about my sisters, and I'm thinking about my female family members, and just thinking of how because the women should be, the men's job is to protect them, and I felt like that I just made me so angry that these women, regardless of whether we agree with what they're doing or even their beliefs or whatever, I don't care what they are. I don't feel like that. I feel like that it really is a major flaw in any group where there's men and the women are being treated in this way. And so for me, that was one that really, it still is
Yeah.
kind of stuck in my mental. And I if there was anything that I really wish I could really make a change, it's in that area for these people. That's the shirk, of course, but for that the women are actually taken care of properly, and not this fake my Sheikah stuff, you know what I mean? But like really, taking care of the women in the way that they should be. And sometimes the women don't know. Sometimes the women might not know how they should be treated sometimes, or what really how they should be honored until they receive that type of treatment. But if they're always being abused pretty much their whole life, like our auntie Tahira was saying, how in the way that she was put on a bus and sent at 16 years old with 2 kids, with marrying some guy, and he's got concubines and running here and there. They won't let her go to the hospital. I mean, these type of things. I mean, that
Your
really
mother,
was like, I was thinking about my own mother, and not that she has told me any stories similar to that, but we don't know. Some of our parents may have gone through things and they just haven't said. But it it probably is the thing that bothers me the most, after the shirk, is the fact that the women are being treated so badly, and a lot of the women don't even realize they're really being treated really badly, but they don't know any better and they don't know anything else, so they think it's it's okay. But that, so long story short, that probably is the thing that had
But
the most impact on me.
there was that. I mean, that was a very strong episode, and there was little things. Um, I don't know. For some reason, there's I don't know. Maybe it's just me, or maybe other people feel the same way. There's little things in these stories that really bother me. That I'm like, why does that part bother me the most? Like with that whole Billy Goat episode, him standing out the door and like knocking and rushing them, that really bothered me for some reason. Like I was really like pissed of here, like what he did, what, and I'm just imagining it, and I'm just getting more. Even right now, I'm thinking about, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
He's a cop.
Seriously.
And I mean,
so,
I mean, it's like, for the women involved in that, I mean, it's like they might even think, well, it's no big deal. I mean, my Rashid said to do it, so I mean, but it's like, you don't know, you're being treated like trash. I mean, you literally were treated like trash. I mean, there are pimps on the street who would have more more jealousy over the women who they manage than this. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It's just, it's way low rent, man.
One thing that stood out too, that we did, alhamdulillah, as the R2F group, is that and we unknowingly, and I hear about it through people messaging me, and I forget to share the messages with everybody most of the time, but alhamdulillah, we've done a lot of good to help people. And one of the things that we did to actually help somebody out, and it ties into this whole taking advantage of women and all that, is that we actually prevented someone from using their power to force a young lady to marry him. And you know, that's what Sultan was trying to use his dream antics and his position and authority as Ahlul Bayt to pretty much groom this young lady into marrying him. And alhamdulillah, we spoke out about it. And, you know, for now anyway, it at least postponed that from happening. So hopefully, you know, that continues to protect that lady. She can grow up and have a marry who she wants, who she really wants, and is not forced or convinced that she should marry because she thinks it's some kind of sign from Allah for some dream or whatever. And hopefully she has a good productive life. But that's one of the things we did on our show that actually had a direct impact on helping somebody. As far as like the other shows that we did, there was a lot of stuff we talked about. There's probably a lot of stuff that we forgot. Anybody else in the comments, you feel free to post in your favorite parts of what we talked about in the show or anything else that we forgot in 2021. Just to go over real quick, some of the things that we're going to be doing in 2022 is that we're not going to be coming on every week anymore. We're going to be going to a bi-weekly schedule. This will give us more time to prepare topics to talk about, because literally every week we just kind of just wing it and like come up with a little schedule in 5 minutes and try to prepare something in a little time. But giving us a whole 2 weeks in between episodes allows us to prepare our guests, allows us to prepare material and produce a better show. And so we plan on bringing on more scholars to the show. We had planned on doing that originally, but the interviews took over, which is fine, you know, which is fine. We still, and the shenanigans of TMOA took over. It was like every week there was literally something else happening. It was like, oh, we got to cover this in the show. We got to cover this in the show, you know. So we plan on having more scholars. We plan on having scholars, bona fide scholars that came from the Dar al-Islam movement, that were a part of it, that can relate to some of the things that happened back then. Other scholars that have experience or knowledge in spiritual abuse, and sort of just different things so we can all learn and benefit from. This year in 2022, we're trying to come up with like a theme, and our theme for 2022 is really going to be focused on education, learning, improving our knowledge of the deen, and specifically focusing on Aqidah, you know, as far as what is the correct belief, the proper belief of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'at Muslims. You know, we're not going to become experts in it, but like Mubarak has mentioned in other episodes, we want to get all of our viewers, whether it's TMOA people, anybody, we want everybody to be able to, when shirk is around the corner, you can smell it and notice it and say, hey, that sounds like shirk. You know, we can run away from it. So we want to at least get all of us on that level where we clearly can recognize what is shirk. Okay.
Indicated.
What else do we got going on? We're gonna start doing like quizzes. We're gonna be posting them on our notifications on Facebook, on the notifications on YouTube, so you can look at those where you can see links to quizzes. And don't feel bad if you have a bad score. Right?
Quizzes be hard. Let me tell y'all.
Yeah. So, but what it does is you take the quiz, you find out what you don't know, and it should prompt you to go look up stuff, and that influences like the learning process. So, you know, we put out those quizzes. Look forward to those. And I'm gonna say that R2F is hiring. As in, we are hiring you, and we have no benefits package. We have no compensation package.
Or an unpaid intern, basically a slave of R2F, yes. But like not that bad.
Yeah.
Piece of it law.
No insurance, no leave, no medical, no dental, no vision. Just basically just work.
No retirement plan either, but
alhamdulillah, if we can get serious, the thing is, you will be paid, as Allah says in Surah Al-Insan, in هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا, that Allah says that this here is for you, this reward is for you, and that He is He appreciates your effort. So if you make the effort, and this is all that R2F is about, making an effort and giving da'wah, only in hoping that Allah will look at us and say, you young men and women, or old men and old women, or you group of people, you made mistakes here, there, or whatever, but you put forth the effort, and the reward for that effort I will give you. And when Allah gives you a reward for your effort, it will be better than you could ever think, more than you could ever think, and will be greater in comparison than anything you could have ever thought you could receive. So let us strive for that.
And you know, it's in some people, we basically came up with some positions just to give an idea of what we're looking for. But literally, we keep saying you can come and help out however you want, right? Whatever you want to do or not do, you can do that. You don't have to be officially part of R2F. You don't have to put your name out there. You can do anything you want. But for instance, we need someone that could be a Facebook manager. All you do is take motivational posts and post them on our Facebook page.
Islamic, please.
That's it. Yeah. Rasul System said this, post a hadith. So that's it. We could use someone that just manages responding to comments on our YouTube page. So you have to have a certain demeanor, and you can't be on there like some of us do. And I'll just stop it there. But we need someone who can manage comments, who can, respectfully and peacefully engage with our audience. You could do that. We need people who can research, like if there's certain topics that are coming up, and this is something that's really beneficial because you could learn and become like expert at certain topics. Like for instance, we had a show about, we didn't talk about it, but with people making sajda on a grave, right? What are the hadiths related to that? What do the scholars say about that? Then people talked about, well, can we kiss graves? What does Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat scholars say about this? Research the information, put it back and provide it to the people. You don't have to, your name doesn't have to be out there for anything. We also have what is it called? I forget, but we have a page where you can write essays and make articles and just post that. You can be a ghostwriter if you want. You have a certain topic you want to write about it, and we'll post it up there for you. And some other things that we're going to work on is we're going to do some classes, inshallah. One of the things that I'm going to do personally is it's going to be called the Miss Course Project, or it's going to be a class basically going through all of Mubarak Jelani's lectures and identifying all the anti-Islamic teachings in them, right? And so if you want to take the same path that I took pretty much when I was doing the reference project, you don't have to do all the work I did. We're going to have all the books. We're going to have all the videos that you can just go through real quick. And we're going to have a class where we identify these issues. And at the end of the class, what's going to happen is all these issues that we identify is going to turn into a resource for everybody else. So you will be directly contributing to a book that will be produced that will list out every single one of all of Mubarak Jelani's anti-Islamic teachings, not teachings that there's differences of opinions on or something maybe in a gray area. We're talking about stuff that is clearly violating the beliefs of Muslims according to the Quran and the Sunnah. So with that, are there any questions, concerns, or topics? We can kind of wrap it up before we get to Mubarak's closing remarks.
I would just like to it's almost like I'm just gonna I don't know if this would be the equivalent of yelling fire in a crowded theater or like throwing a grenade and running, but the hair water corona
yeah
outbreak situation. I'll just tee it up and
okay. See, we be forgetting stuff.
Almost.
We forgetting stuff. Man, so we've been notified. Alhamdulillah, they have a young women's retreat down in Virginia at their fake college that they have, where we're never going to discourage anybody from seeking knowledge. Hopefully they have qualified teachers and they're learning stuff that's in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah. We hope that they are doing that. So the first thing to happen is they had an age limit. You had to be between, I think they're targeting like young college age women to come down there for the retreat. So younger women couldn't go. And but of course, with like a week to go, there wasn't enough people there. So they expanded the age range so that a bunch of younger ladies could come and attend, so they could fill out the numbers. So when they have graduation, they have, nice people in the background, makes it look like a lot of people went, this whole propaganda stuff that they do. But the first red flag that if any of you guys in TMOA are paying attention to is the first red flag is that they all had to have negative COVID tests before they can come, right? Which, of course, they all should be negative because you guys have this miracle hair water that protects you from COVID that you guys drink every day, right? Okay, but whatever. Maybe it's just, for authorities, or maybe there's some kind of regulations.
They get tested. Like, did they go to a doctor or like a CVS somewhere? They didn't go say, hey, Ubnor, use magical powers and tell us if we're negative or not. It didn't work.
Put your hand on the forehead.
Yep. You are gone, my child. Yeah.
You're negative.
Abuji said you're negative. But how is that possible? How is it possible?
To me. I'm his wife.
Yeah, but they had to actually go to get, whether it was doctors or home tests or
Dr. Jamil. It was probably him.
Maybe it was him.
Yeah, Dr. Jamil was the one.
They did that like last week, but as we find out now, they have a COVID outbreak. I'm not laughing at the COVID outbreak. I'm not laughing at that because hopefully everybody's safe and not really sick or whatever. But they have a COVID outbreak at the retreat, and these young ladies are actually at quarantine. All the COVID students are quarantined or got their own little section of the retreat. So for people in TMOA, especially you people that are still drinking that nasty water, wake up. Can you please wake up? Your shake, you guys had videos, you had doctors making testimony about this miracle cure and protection, all these memos that you guys have sent out over the last couple of years about do this, do that, and make sure you drink your hair water, right, to be protected. And you guys are literally having outbreaks on your own thing where you guys are supposed to be so divinely protected with this miracle cure. Stop doing this stuff. You guys really have to stop. Wake up. It's a bunch of bull crap. Wake up.
I mean, did anybody actually, like, when the first person was like, yo, Sister Fulana just tested positive, like, yo, get some hair water. Yo, get the hair water right now. Just like literally just pumping their, this person. And then, I wonder if anybody did that, or were they like, yo, we knew this hair water magic trick was just that, a trick. We're not actually going to do that as prevention or a cure or part of any sort of regimen. We're just going to do what literally the CDC or whoever has been saying since day one, that if you have the infection, you quarantine, you isolate, XYZ. So you pretend that your spiritual guide has given you some sort of exclusive, drink this hair water, which Christians, there's Buddhists, there's all types of people do this hair trick. They've been doing this hair trick and finding a hair trick and drinking it or whatever that's special, for years now. It's nothing new. They regurgitated it, which is the 7 sultans and all that stuff is also regurgitated stuff from other people. So it's right in line. But, ask yourself seriously, did you go to the hair trick when the outbreak happened? Or I'm sure some of the people who did get sick or then started quarantining, did you think, well, I already drank my hair water, so I don't really need to do that? I mean, what is it? I mean, I would really like to talk to someone who literally, drank some water full of someone's hair, a bunch of hairballs that they pulled out of some dusty book. And then, I would like to see here their mindset and see what exactly how they go about it. Do they literally drink the hair water and then still follow the CDC guidelines?
Because I would have so many questions.
Yes.
I would have.
I know people that do, like, this is what they do. So they still drink the hair water. There's people that still are drinking the hair water and still going to get vaccinations, right? Still going to get the vaccination, still following all the CDC guidelines, wearing masks, even extra, more than like what the CDC is, wearing masks everywhere, 2 masks, vaccination, drinking hair water. And then when they're asked, wait, isn't the hair water supposed to protect you? they actually don't even want to talk about it. So it's like they actually know it's full of crap, but they're just like, they're probably still doing it because they think like Jelani's like watching over them, like,
from heaven.
Yeah.
Okay, no. But like my thing, I would have so many questions for someone that drink the hair water. Like, how long does it last for? Like, how many times, like, in between a day, do I need to drink it? Because, like, what if it's like,
you need a booster? Are they gonna need like another dose?
Because like, is it like good for a day? Like, what if I'm fasting and it's Ramadan? I can't drink hair water during the day. So like, oh, I got sick during the day. What happened, bro? Come on.
Well, I guess what they're probably gonna do is release new criteria or protocols for the hair water. So like, drink it every day. And as long as you are in your room without any access to any other human beings that came from outside,
you won't
within
get sick.
The last 3 weeks, right? And you have an air ventilator and oxygen mask, you will not get, inshallah, you might not get COVID.
I mean, yo, what are the applications? I mean, can I mix it with something? Can I make tea with it? Can I like make oatmeal with it and mix it like that? Or do I have to just drink it just with the hair? I mean, there's plenty of things.
And do I have to like swallow the hair too, or can I just have the hair in the water? Like do I have to drink the hair? Like,
I mean, you can,
well, yeah, I'm a chunk of the hair. I'm not swallowing the hair.
Well, then you become that's like the super powerful trick. You know, it's in your system. Then you are the hair water.
Can I use like a coffee press people and cure them, and then just like have the hair in the coffee press and push it down in the water so that it gets
No, hold up. And hold up. What if I don't find no hair in my book, can I use like someone else's hair water? I mean, you found the hairs, but like, can we share hair water? I mean, is that, you know, I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to share, you know, drink out of the same bottle or cup or whatever, like for coronavirus purposes. But I mean, will the hair water still carry the same potency
aspects
if we share? You know what I mean?
The thing I worry about is if because let's be real. 90% of TM weight, even if they are drinking the hair water, they actually don't believe it, right? They're still going to wear their mask. But there are some dedicated diehard Jamatis that are like, nah, I'm good. I don't need a vaccine. I don't need a shot. I don't need a mask. I don't need a quarantine. I can do whatever I want. I drank this hair water. I'm going to be protected. Like, those are the people I worry about that, like, listen, you might have like some kind of pre-existing condition that puts you at risk that if you get COVID, you're going to be in serious trouble. And if these people actually believe this hair water's, like, what disservice have you done all the people that's promoted this hoax? Exactly. It's crazy.
Exactly. But I and we got a couple of questions, but I respect the person who literally just says, yo, I'm not taking no vaccine, no mask, nothing. I'm just drinking my hair water, and like, it's firm on that joint. I can respect that.
Write it out, bro. Write it out.
Over the person who literally takes the hair water, like, yeah, I'm taking this hair water because my Rashid says so. And then they got, you know, a whole space suit on, and they're literally quarantining. They won't let their kids go outside, all types of things. So which one is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I at least respect the stance, even though it might be silly. At least you believe something, and you're not like waffling. Basically, it's like, I believe that this is, you know, this is going to work. Yet you're doing everything that everyone else says that you should do to protect yourself. So it doesn't make sense. However, Hussein, I mean, Credit Express is saying that or is it Hussein? Sorry. How long will the show be now that they are 2 weeks apart? Well, Hussein, as you know, this show was supposed to be 1 hour, and we have already gone over. So we will try very hard to make the shows less than an hour. And that has been the goal. Actually, the first show we were supposed to do 30 minutes. We were literally like, we were somewhat stressing over, are we gonna have enough content every week to do a 30-minute show? I mean, are we gonna have anything to talk about, whatever the case may be? I mean, now it's like, literally, I mean,
we get it under an hour. Ironically, our first show is our shortest show. Like, the shortest show we've done is our first show. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think once when we have more time to prepare, it's going to be a little bit easier for us to like keep it within an hour, because we'll be able to say, I'm not going to mention that. I'm like, you know, we'll have more time. But I think, we'll be able to keep it around an hour, unless something crazy comes up. And knowing the people we deal with, there's usually something crazy that comes up. So
Yeah, I think we have got a couple good shows coming up in January. If what I think should happen, one of the guests coming up should be it should be a good one, inshallah. Should be a good
Yeah.
one to couple with basically watch the MJ interview if you haven't watched it already, and then hopefully one coming up will help to shed some more light on
When
that.
we get that one, I'm gonna just waste my money and go buy a mic just so I can on screen drop it. Just- that's seriously.
Hey, but you know what? It wouldn't matter, man. We could literally we could have a footage. We could have footage of the actual halala that took place. I mean, not I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's a little over the top, but like we could have footage of something like literally,
Yeah.
the dude footage of an old boy banging on the door, yo,
Yeah.
come on,
Hurry up,
man.
hurry up,
And
hurry
they
up.
would be like, yo, it didn't happen, yo. He was waking them up for Fajr. That's what he was
Yep.
doing. That wasn't it. So I mean, it doesn't matter what we have. They're always gonna have something. But
So
yeah.
Hussein, he said they think they prefer the weekly shows at about an hour. That's cool, but if we have some volunteers that want to come help co-host, we could do a weekly show. But it's the thing is to say, it's only a few of us that are like kind of put together this content and trying to come up on here. So we have a lot of other stuff that we do off showtime.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of commitment and it's a lot of time that it takes to get ready for these things, even though we don't have the time, we try to do it. So, but anybody's welcome to come help out, be a co-host, come up here. We could do.
And as we did, I mean, even if maybe if somebody's feeling froggy, like even Amr, and let's pause. Let's take a moment to recognize our brother, nephew.
Thank you.
Maybe he sees us as old men. I don't know. He calls us boomers. He calls us boomers all the time in the chat. So.
I do not call y'all boomers. That's crazy. Y'all call you yourselves boomers. I disagree with it.
But yeah, man. Alhamdulillah, actually, you get a year into. Oh, you know what we say we was gonna do?
The trolls.
The year end awards. The best this.
Oh yeah.
We got it. I think we will have to we will have to do it properly. Maybe in an upcoming show we'll kind of list some of the best ofs or some of the either the best, some of the troll of the year.
John Cena out here. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I will never forget the comment of John Cena. I will never. That's
during the halal episode.
And yes, that is etched in my brain.
I'm talking about, like I said this before, like the halal episode, right? It was super serious. It was draining. It was heart-wrenching. It was 2 hours. Literally, like if you go back and look at the video, it's 2 hours and 25 minutes of just straight real content. And John Cena came out of left field. It was like, damn. It was like, oh my God.
John Cena, we got it, and don't forget Hussein Adams.
I'm here.
I am here. I still would like to know who that was, but we'll never know. We'll probably never know. But actually, it's better that way that we don't know. Maybe it's actually Hussein. I still want to believe that it's actually Hussein. But yeah, alhamdulillah, we will. We definitely will try to. We will try to. Have the shows be really more streamlined and kind of informational, because we have got some constructive criticism on our approach to certain things. And so what I was going to say is that it's like before I started telling Amr that I'm proud of him, that he is like, first he was kind of
you too,
chilling, but now he's all that introvert stuff. He ain't no introvert anyway. But yeah, so we might have pop-up shows or whatever. If I ever knew how to, maybe I am a boomer. I don't even know how to get the live stream joint.
I got you
half the time. So maybe I need to get with Amr and he'll show me how exactly how that works. But we can always do little pop-up shows and stuff. Anybody can. Yep. So you might see one of us on a odd week where we don't have a show, where somebody just comes on and just does their thing. But me personally, I have so many things that literally I have neglected for quite some time, that I really do need to do need to start doing them and doing them better. So and you know, because we, believe it or not, we don't literally just sit around all day thinking about what we're going to say about TMOA. We really don't. We have other things that we do, and we're working on those things. We're all students. Everyone here is are students, and you know, you got lots of things going on. So it's not a complaint or not an excuse. It's just, you know, we do need. We're human beings, we're not robots. You know, just like there's not the Wahhabi the Wahhabi money, then not have us like in a closet and then just put us out and sick us on the Sufis. No, we're real people, like y'all know that. But
actually, it's supposed to be by money, because the first trolls of R2F during the dark days of R2F were like, I'm gonna give some money from his disability checks or something. That's where the money comes from. My legs still working stuff too. I was like, God, yeah, y'all were coming at me. You didn't work, but y'all were coming, bro.
Yeah, but alhamdulillah. Let me see if there's anything else in there.
I think we chilling on comments.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we might. You know what? We'll see. I think as far as the weekly shows, I think you'll see something from us on a weekly basis. But as far as the put it this way, the production value and the professionalism of the show, inshallah, is going to increase significantly going forward. And that bi-weekly show, the 2-week, the every other week show, hopefully that we're going to do, is going to be the R2F show. It's going to be serious. It's going to be professional. It's going to be one in which hopefully we're going to have some good guests, some guests that maybe you've seen or heard of before, and you'll say, well, why are they coming on their show? Well, you know, Allah does whatever he wants to do. So we will take whatever help in the da'wah that we can get. But any other show other than the actual R2F show could be, you know, it could be anything. So but that show, we want to do it. We want to do it every other week, inshallah, and have it to be as professional as we can get it, because we're trying to move into some different spaces, more broader spaces. We're trying to address more, and we have to tighten up our situation before we can really, you know, step out there in a different way. You know, I got, like, I don't know what I got behind me. I got an open window with a joint like that, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff we got to work on before we.
We'll get there. We'll get there, inshallah.
Like this.
There's a couple of things I wanted to. I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention real quick. I forgot to mention in previous shows, but we keep asking for volunteers, and if there's a lot of different things that could happen. See, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, Amr.
Nice. You gotta have the options in your background, so you can have it be whatever you want it to be. I got you.
Okay. Right? See. Yeah. Nice. Nice.
All right.
All right. I want the one with the Jaffer laughing in the back.
All right. Bet.
All right. But so seriously though, but there is a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that people have been contacting us about that we literally just don't have the time to do it. Like one of those things that I promised one of the individuals I talked to about is there are people out there. I mean, if anybody's watched the MJ interview where he mentioned that there, you know, where are people going to go? What are people going to do after this, right? There are people that legit want to get together with other people to purchase lands to be available for Muslims, especially ex-cult members, to live and start communities. Because if you think about it, the idea of TMOA, as far as Muslims coming together, starting Muslim communities, that is actually a very good idea, right? TMOA didn't do it right because they isolated themselves from the Ummah. But just imagine the concept of having properties where people can move up on, buy their own portion of property where it will actually be theirs, but all their neighbors are most like kind of like Muslim gated communities, where they actually have some of these around the United States, but it's open to the entire Ummah, where other Muslims can come and say, hey, I want to get in there with y'all, because it's not like a cult group like TMOA. You're not isolating yourselves, but it's also a place where people that need to leave these types of cult groups like TMOA have a place to go, right? So there are people who want to do that. And if you are one of those people that want to do that, you can contact us and we can put you together. I'm not interested in that, and other people aren't, but there are a lot that are interested in that. So we're not here to say like, oh, this is the only way to do this. But
I mean, I would say, me personally, sorry to cut you off, but
yeah, go ahead.
If TMOA or if they literally, I'm talking about, they would have to basically like be like, yo, we elected Uthman ibn Farouk, Sheikh Orkasha Khamenei, Salim Abu Zaid, Bilal Phillips as the Shura Council, and the mayor is going to be, I don't know, Mufti Mink or somebody, maybe not Mufti Mink, but Muhammad Mufti Ibn Munir, something like that. I mean, it had to be something like that, but literally. That's a little bit of exaggeration, but basically what I'm saying is that if TMOA actually was like, this TMOA stuff is over, we're literally on Quran and Sunnah, and we are running like that from here on out, bam, and they actually were doing it, I personally would move my family to the land literally within a week. I literally would move back to the land straight away. Now, I don't know how much I would stay there, but
I would not be there. I'm telling you that right now. Not again.
Because listen, I grew up on the land. Literally, the land, and every land is the same. But put it this way, I would literally be very, very interested in doing that, and I would make every effort that I could to move my family on a land that was functioning in a proper way. Absolutely.
There's people that have the resources that want to put it together with other people to do that, and I just told them that as far as for like, if you want to use R2F as a platform to get that message out, our only condition is that however you do it, it's guaranteed that it keeps these people connected to the Ummah. Whether it's like Mubarak said, like the local masjid council is somehow involved with the leadership and like whatever. There's different, but that's the discussion down the line for those people that want to do that. But just to let you know, that's one of these things that people want to work on, but they just don't know how to connect with those people.
All right.
So let's see. Our friend Undercover Sniper is dropping some balls in his
sniping. He's sniping.
We need to watch that video from R2F again, the one we just put out. I haven't seen it yet, but I need to watch it. So.
Oh my God! Oh Lord!
Actually, what we should do is we need to watch it on stream. So
Yo, matter of fact, you know what? Maybe next, we have to do a pop-up episode of just a standalone pop-up episode where we watch that and react to that video.
I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait.
Seriously, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Actually, let's have just a pop-up show where we just watched. It's a 4-minute video. We just watch the video and react to it. It is the funniest video I think I've ever seen in my life. I mean, literally last night, it was painful to me trying not to laugh. And shout out to our brother who's putting the videos together. It's not Jaffer, actually. It's not me either. It's not Amr. It's another. I don't know if he wants his name mentioned, so I won't mention him. But literally, just killing them with the videos. But this is the funniest video I have ever seen. And I could not stop laughing last night. It was painful trying to suppress my laughter as everyone is asleep. I'm trying to not wake up my kids and my wife, and I'm like literally trying not to laugh, and I'm like in pain. I mean, it is too funny. So we'll figure out a time and a date to address that.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay, I'm gonna wait.
So your sheikh said COVID was a wrath from Almighty Allah. So why has that wrath visited your community, especially if you follow him? Wow, that is a heavy strike. I mean, that is like that's a bomb. That you have to answer that question. If he said it's a wrath from Allah, y'all got an outbreak, then you should think about it. That's a great, good comment. People will come to you for help. No one has gone. Yo, who is Undercover Sniper? He sound like me.
Is it you?
You typing?
Let me find out, Mubarak. It's you.
Your shaker has said people will come to you for help. No one has come to you all for help. But how will people come to you all for help when you can't even help yourselves from getting COVID? Oh my God! Yeah.
I'll be out here, bro. It's crazy.
Look, this.
Oh Lord, but yeah, we could probably keep going, but yeah, we got to be more disciplined. We were supposed to stop 35 minutes ago, so let's see. Do y'all brothers have anything else before we wrap it up, Jaffer?
No, I'm good. Just want to say, like, thank you everybody for supporting us for this year. Thank you, Amr, for helping us out and coaching us along and getting us up to speed on how to do this. Thank Mubarak for co-hosting and helping out with this, and being a great asset to our R2F team. And just want to thank all the people that's been watching us, the people that's been sending us encouraging messages, especially the people that's reached out to us and allowed us to be involved in their journey to guidance and getting away from TMOA. We shout out to all those people that are behind the scenes. Not everybody came on the show. Not everybody did an interview, but there are people who, alhamdulillah, Allah has guided them through or guiding them to the straight path of Islam, away from the falsehood of their cult. And they have attributed some of that to the work that has been done at R2F. So everybody that's been involved in that, may Allah bless all of you guys.
I mean. And just to wrap up, as a reminder that the actual name of the organization, that thing about returning to the fitra, which is a play off of the hadith of Rasulullah, in which he says that every child is born upon the fitra with tawheed and belief in one creator, and it is their environment, their parents, that make them a Jew or a Christian or a Majusi, a fire worshiper, and all these other things. And so there's one Islam, and that is our only goal, is to help people to return to the fitra and to return to Islam as it should be practiced purely, not with anything added, not with anything taken away from it. And we should realize, as Jafar mentioned in the beginning, that we don't have an unlimited amount of time. Look at this year that has gone by, 2021, according to the Gregorian calendar, it's 2022. With Allah as a witness, I cannot remember how, it seems like it went by so fast. I mean, like it flew by. And that is one of the things that Rasulullah has said about the latter days, in which the time will go by so fast that you will find yourself really trying to figure out where the time went. And it's something that's it's in limited supply. We don't have all the time in the world, and we are all in loss. We're all losers. Allah has said that in al insana lafi khusr. Every single person, man, woman, child, Muslim, non-Muslim, Jew, Christian, whatever the case may be, everybody's a loser. Everybody is in loss, unless you got to do 4 things, and you have to do them simultaneously. That's the thing, because it's illa alladhina, except for the people, except for those who amanu. You got to believe. And at the same time, wa'amilu salihat. You got to believe, and you got to do the actions behind it. Watawasaw bil haqq, and you have to encourage people to what is the truth. While you believe and while you do righteous actions yourself, you also have to be encouraging the people. And then you have to be watawasaw bis sabr, and you have to be steadfast on and be patient upon doing all 4 of those things simultaneously. And if you falter in any one of those things, you're going to be in loss. This is not my words, this is what Allah says. You cannot remove yourself or have the chance to be outside of that losing area without doing all 4 of those things. So it's not enough for you to just say, well, I know that what TMOA is doing is not right. I don't believe it, but I'm not going to speak out. You're a loser, man. You are a loser, according to what Allah says, until you can do all these things within your capabilities, right? So you can't just believe. You got to also do their actions. So if you're there on the lands, in the communities, and you're not saying anything when you see something that you know is wrong, you're in loss, bro or sister. You are in loss. And if you're not encouraging others to the truth, then you're in loss. And if you're not doing that thing and then staying on it until when? Until you die. There's no, oh, well, I did it for a month and now I'm going to relax. And that's why for us, we kind of have to walk back a little bit and spread it out, do it every 2 weeks. We're not going to stop, but we want the quality and the impact to be the same. And so we don't want to burn ourselves out, but we're not ever going to stop. It's not because we want to rival with TMOA or Hussein Adams or any of these people. It's because we know that Allah has said we are going to be losers unless we do this. So even though we got a lot of other things that we want to do, we could be doing a lot of other things and enjoying ourselves sometimes. And alhamdulillah, this is enjoyable for us on top of that. But still, we could be doing it, but we're never going to stop doing this because we don't want to be losers in Allah's eyes. Because you could look like a winner in TMOA or any other place, but if Allah says you're a loser and you're in loss, then how can you possibly be a winner at the end of the day? So look at the time that you have. The year has flown by. And Allah says your time is short. You're already in the end. It's almost the maghrib of your lives, or in the world. You can't sit back and think, well, I will, correct the actions of myself and my family and mend the broken ties that these people have caused or whatever. I'll do it later. I'll do it when I get older. I'll do it when I get married. I'll do it when he's nice to me. No, everything that you need to be doing in those categories, you believing what is correct, you acting upon that, you encouraging others, and then you being steadfast on that until the end has to be started right now and it has to be maintained. Otherwise, we're in loss. I'll mention one more thing, and that is something that I feel like we all do, even as adults. Even though I was trying to teach a lesson to my son, but we still as adults fall into it. I told my son he had a tablet. He wanted to play. It was 2 minutes before Maghrib. It was off, right? So he had to boot it up. When you got to boot up a tablet, it takes a little bit of time to on screen and all that thing. I said, son, you can get on the tablet and play until the adhan for Maghrib is called, or you can wait until after Maghrib and you can play for 30 minutes. You know what he said? I want to play now. And he tried to start, and before he could even get it booted up, the adhan came. And I took it from him and said, that's it. You chose now over later. Trying to teach him the lesson. It's a lesson that he hopefully learned, but it's a lesson that us as adults, we don't always implement that thing and realize that our time is short. We choose things that are of lesser value, and we choose a poor deal, a worse deal, instead of doing what will actually get us a better deal. Though it may take a little bit of effort, a little bit of energy, a little bit of time, instead we take the short end of the stick. Let's not be like the little boy who took the 2 minutes instead of the 30 minutes after. Mm-hmm. Let's do the work now and know that the payoff will come after a little bit of time, but there will be some pain involved, or maybe some strain and struggle with family members, with friends, and all these things. But at the end of the day, it is Allah who sets the measurements for us, and he says we all are in loss unless we do all of these things simultaneously and until the end. So may Allah allow us to be those people who believe what is proper, who do those actions based on those proper beliefs, and then help others to do that and stay steadfast on that until we meet Allah. With that, I say, Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.